As I wake and saw the light, God has kept me through the night. If I should die before this day is done, Lord, receive me to thyself and Son. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Sweet hour of prayer, sweet, sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer, sweet hour of prayer that holds me from a world of care and bids me at my Father's throne, makes all my wants and wishes known in seasons of
Good morning, good morning, good morning, and welcome to Moments of Inspiration on this Sunday, the 22nd of September 2019. I am Virginia Echols. Get lost in the music, get found in the message, get up with God. This morning, we are pleased and blessed to have in studio Maryam Abdul Qawiyy. Good morning, Maryam.
Namaste. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Okay, and today we are praying for a life-changing experience as Maryam discusses with us yoga and meditation and spirituality.
Looking forward to discussing.
sweet, sweet hour of prayer, sweet, sweet hour of prayer. This robe of flesh I drop and rise to seize the everlasting prize and shine while passing through the air. Farewell, farewell, sweet hour of prayer. Sweet, sweet hour of prayer. Sweet hour, sweet, sweet hour of prayer. Oh, sweet, sweet, oh, sweet hour of prayer. How sweet, sweet, how sweet, sweet hour of prayer. Sweet hour of prayer. Sweet hour of prayer. Oh, so sweet, so sweet, sweet hour of prayer. Sweet, sweet, sweet hour of prayer.
Father, we give you our utmost for your highest, for your highest.
knowing we could never accurately express or accurately confess our gratitude. You've taken permanent residence in this once vacant heart, in this once empty shell of a person, and worship is the only hospitable way for making our lives pleasing enough for you to stay, pleasing enough for you to make yourself at home. We give you full reign, all access, all authority to rearrange our priorities, define our security, refine our character, and define our identity. We never want you to feel unwelcome or unwanted. You belong here, stay here, have your way here, and change us. Oh, that you would even mingle your perfection, with our imperfection. But you do. And the least we could do is not take you for granted, but to see you for who you are. You are holy.
Good morning, me neighbor, good morning. How everybody did do this wonderful morning. It's another beautiful day. I had to get up and pray and say thank you, Lord, for another day. Good morning, me neighbor, good morning. How everybody did do this wonderful morning. It's another beautiful day. I had to get up and pray and say thank you, Lord, for another day. Every day I open my eye, I see morning light, morning light. I know that the Lord just brought me through the night, So I face a challenging day before He take me away behind to the grind. Success on my mind. Good morning, me neighbor, good morning. How everybody did do this wonderful morning. It's another beautiful day. I had to get up and pray and say thank you, Lord, for another day. Some people will face the day with worry and fret, but that kind of feeling you must never get. There's always another way. Just do as the Bible says, live for today, for God's wisdom pray. Good morning, me neighbor, good morning. How everybody did do this wonderful morning. It's another beautiful day. I had to get up and pray and say thank you, Lord, for another day. It's another beautiful day. I had to get up and pray and say thank you, Lord, for another day.
Sure is hot out here. No, I don't mind though. I'm just glad to be free. You know what I'm saying? What you wanna do? Yeah. Feel me? What you gonna do?
In the corners of my mind, I just can't seem to find a reason to believe that I can break free. 'Cause you see, I have been down for so long, feel like all hope is gone. But as I lift my hands, I understand that I should praise you through my circumstance. So I can dance. Just wanna praise you. Just wanna praise you. I can lift my hands. Everything that could go wrong, all went wrong at one time. So much pressure fell on me. I thought I was gonna lose my mind. But I know you wanna see if I will hold on through these trials. But I need you to lift this load, 'cause I can't take it no more. So I can dance. I just wanna praise you. I just wanna praise you.
We are now listening to In Bright Mansions. And following this selection, we'll be hearing from Maryam Abdul Qawiyy. And now we are going to be hearing from Maryam Abdul Qawiyy. Maryam just returned from India, where she took a course. She was before she left Belize, but she is an international yoga instructor, and she's an artist, a model, and she has several other little things behind her. But I'm going to let Maryam introduce herself, and then we're going to go straight into the message for today. And the message for today will be directing us towards meditation, spirituality, and yoga. Good morning again, Maryam.
Good morning. I'd like to open with one of the opening mantras that we did during the yoga training course. It's called the Shanti mantra. It's called the peace mantra.
We want Maryam to speak a little louder into.
Okay. Okay, great. So we'll begin with the opening of the peace mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Varitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we all be nourished. May we work together with great energy. May our intellect be sharpened, and let there be no animosity among us. Peace in me, peace in nature, and peace in all the divine forces. So this peace mantra is what we used in the program during our yoga course to open every single class. So every morning class would begin at 4:45 a.m. So you'd had to be up at 4:30 a.m. every day. There were no rest days, so no rest day on Saturday or Sunday. It didn't matter if it was the weekend. We had yoga every morning. So this is the opening prayer that we would begin with. The Shanti mantra, the peace mantra, to get ourselves settled in our own form of peace within ourselves mentally, and to kind of set the tone before we began class.
The tone for the meditation?
The tone for the actual physical yoga class, to
Okay.
start the day in completion, because the day would start from 4:45 a.m. and we wouldn't end until about 8:30 p.m. or 9 p.m. and that was every day. Every single day you had to be up at 4:30. So that part of the program was a bit vigorous, but I enjoyed it. I like getting up early in the morning. So,
Wow.
yes.
My gosh. And can you translate, help us translate what it was saying or something?
Yes, of course. So it's saying, may we all be nourished. May we all work together with great energy. May our
Wow.
intellect be sharpened and our
Right.
study be effective, and let there be no animosity among us. Peace in me, peace in nature, peace in the divine forces and everything that exists.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay, so now this, what you're describing to us now, is
Yes.
what you did in India.
Yes.
Okay, and so we're going to get to that, but we're going to go back a little bit.
Okay, great.
What brought you to yoga? How
Wow, that's
did
a
you
good question.
decide? Because I know your background
Yes.
as far as what you believe in, and how you were raised and what faith you were raised in. So if you can give our audience a little small tidbit of your background so they can understand where you are now. See,
Okay.
I understand where you are now.
Okay.
Because I saw your journey. I was
Yes.
with you through that journey. So
Okay, great. Sure. I'd love to share. So my journey is that I grew up in a very eclectic, I guess you could say, interfaith household. I was born as a Muslim, and I have a very Muslim name. So everywhere I go, everyone's like, are you Muslim? So I grew up very Muslim, but then I also got exposed to Christianity heavily when my family moved back from the U.S. back to Belize. My mom's a Belizean, so we moved back home to Belize. And so I got very exposed to Christianity by going to school. And I loved worshiping. I loved singing in church. Because in Islam, you just pray. But I was like, what? Jesus, I could sing? Okay, Jesus. So, so that was cool to me that I could sing and worship God through song. I thought that was so beautiful. And then I got exposed to all these other religions too, and I was very open and accepting. And just growing up as a child, I noticed like a theme with all of them. They were all telling me to do the right thing. They were all telling me to be kind to people. They were all telling me to treat everyone the way I want to be treated. So from that jump off point, what happened was I was able to see that everyone chooses their own path, spiritually or just in life, whatever works for you. And for me, what started to happen, because I was exposed to all these different religions very early on and I had to practice them, I started to see that common theme. And the common theme didn't necessarily mean I had to be Muslim, I had to be Christian, I had to be Rastafarian, I had to be a label in order for me to act out on these things from a positive standpoint, and to be a good person and to decide that from that intention. So when I found different practices, which now comes into yoga, and yoga is not a religion. Sometimes people confuse it, but it's not. It's literally just a practice for you to decide that you're going to set a positive intention and how you're going to carry that out in a yogic way, which means yoga comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, which means union. So you're just understanding that you as a human being are in union with everything in this universe. So if you know that and you experience that, you're not just going to go and hurt someone or think about hurting someone or wanting to kill someone or wanting to do wrong, because you understand that we're all the same, we're all together. If I do that to that person, I'm doing it to myself. So for me, when I found that path, I knew within myself, this is what works for me, because I had already started to experience that even while I was growing up in all the different religions. So then now I'm still on the yogic path. I'm not going to say I'm a yogi, because yogis, I just feel like, to me, that's almost like saying like you're a Christian and then one day you're like, I'm a pastor now. It's like not that. I just feel like it's not that easy, or it's not that simple.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you have different levels of like where you are in the church. You're still a believer and you're still definitely there. No one's countering that.
Yeah.
But are you a pastor though? Like, really? Can you say that? Yeah, I'm trained as a yoga instructor. And my goal is to continue the yogic path and to hopefully confidently call myself a yogi one day.
Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about the course that you took.
Yes.
I mean, you were there for what, 6 weeks?
I was in India for, it was 4 weeks and a half.
4.5 weeks.
Yes,
Okay.
4.5 weeks.
And during that time, what did you learn that you were going to share? Because I remember listening to Ashanti on, I think she was on Krim, and she was talking about giving back.
Yes.
So are you here now to give back?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So
Tell us.
So yeah, the program first is at Svyasa University, Svyasa University. It's a yoga university. It's solely for the purpose of yoga.
Wow.
And it's literally to promote yoga in higher education. So you can, there's different forms of study that you can have there. Like what I did was a 1-month yoga instructor's course. That's in the certificate program. But then there's a 6-month yoga training course. And then there's like 1 month, 3 months, 6 months. And then there's also, you can get bachelor's in the science of yoga. You can do a PhD in yoga therapy. There's just like so many different, you can like go on the website and see like what programs that you're interested in, because some people that work there that I met there, they were actually doctors. So they made that transition from being just a medical doctor and applying the yogic principles to what they were doing and kind of merging it together. And it actually helped their practice. So there's several different programs that you can go into. If you just solely want to focus on the yoga and you go to the school for the first month to just kind of understand and get an introduction of it, great. If you want to go deeper into the study of yoga, you want to get a bachelor's in it or something like that, you can apply. The program that I went through, it was sponsorship. So if anyone's interested, you definitely contact me, or you can contact Michelle at Om Shanti. She was the one that made me aware of this opportunity, and I applied. So the Indian government has now done this amazing thing where they're just like, we want to promote yoga. We see the benefits that it's having worldwide. The more people that can come, the better to train, just to get an understanding of why do we do yoga? Where is it coming from? What does it mean? And it's completely and totally like a full scholarship, like sponsorship. So everything is taken care of. You don't have to worry. You're there on the campus. You're safe. Everything's taken care of as far as travel, accommodation, food, your books, everything. So the Indian government has really made a huge decision to spread the message of yoga, because they see the positivity that it's creating within their own community and their own country, and they just want to spread it as much as possible to the world. So they're just basically opening up their arms, like open arms, to just for people to come in and study. I know that 2 more girls, I believe, recently left from Belize to go study in the same exact school, the yoga university that I studied at. And again, the program that I did was just a 1-month program. But I mean, again, you can do a bachelor's, you can do a master's, you can do a PhD. And those are, 4-year programs, 4 to 6 year programs, if people are interested. And it's solely all yoga, basically.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
What is the age?
Okay, that's a good question.
Because my granddaughter is, I think she just turned 25 or
Okay, great.
24, 25, but she went into the military, but she's very sedate kind of person.
Yeah.
And then I have another granddaughter that is more into, I'll say religion. I think they understand yoga, but I don't know how young you would be to appreciate the mindset that you need for yoga.
Okay,
Or
that's
how old you would be to let go of
right.
all those things that you have in your mind and your spirit, and then
Right.
go to. So.
Right. So that's actually a great point, because there are different types of yoga. There's not just one. So you
Okay.
can kind of align yourself with the yoga that works for you in the time being. So there's 4 different schools of yoga. There's Raja Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. So these different types of yoga that you go into trains different parts of you, if that makes sense. So if we're focusing on Jnana Yoga, which is about the intellect, that person will do more practices that's about focusing the mind, meditation. It's about the intellect. If you want to do Karma Yoga is all about action. So
Wow.
most of those people, it's about, I want to do Karma Yoga. They just want to give back. They just want to volunteer. They just want to help.
Yes,
They want
yes.
to do something. It's about action. It's Karma Yoga. Then you have Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is devotional. So mantra singing, cleaning the temple, very devotional. Devotional in a different, like, you can choose, what way you want to be a devout, yogi. So yeah, you have Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and then Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga is basically what I've been doing all this time, or what you see people doing, and that's the yoga of willpower. So that's the yoga of like setting out a plan and setting out this class. I'm going to do this class. I'm going to do this. So that's about using all of the different types of yoga to help move yourself forward, because you need to have your intellect. You need to have your devotion. You need to have your action in place to move yourself forward. You have an end goal, and this is how you're going to move forward with your Raja Yoga. So once you find that out, there's like different types of yoga, different ways of yoga, then you can kind of fit yourself in. And you notice age range, coming back to your comment and your question, there's different types of people age range wise. So in the devotional Bhakti Yoga, you'll see a lot of older women, because they can just come and sit and sing and be devout, and then maybe they have to go and take care of their family. Will they do Raja Yoga and physically get up there and run around like all us young people? Probably not. And that's okay, but they're doing it in a different way. Or you'll see the Jnana yogis, the intellect yogis, they'll be meditating, because that's how they can incorporate it in their lives. So it does sometimes your age will determine like what type of yoga you can do, and you'll see that. But it's fine. It's completely fine. If you feel like you can do all 4 and be devout and be, active and have your strong willpower and mental, intellectual yoga and do all that, fine. If not, you choose which one works for you, for your lifestyle, and then you carry that out. There's no like pressure that you have to be this kind of yogi or that kind of, no.
So then do you encourage, I'm thinking of what's going on in Belize now.
Yes.
And everything that you are saying to deals with the mind and the spiritual aspect of a person.
Yes.
Do you feel that young people, the age group that is the violence and everything that's happening, that if that young age were introduced to the yoga mindset, that it would be influential, or it would be something that they would be able to take and focus on, instead of focusing on the negative, to focus on the positive?
Yes, because yoga basically provides us with tools to basically reorganize your mind and your body in a way that is conducive to being a peaceful person. So if you're sitting there for 5 to 10 minutes and you're just focusing on inhaling and exhaling, that has scientifically, it's been proven it has an effect on your mind and your body. You get calmer. If you're in a calmer, more peaceful state, there's no way that you want to go out and hurt someone, because you're just not mentally, you're not there. Because before anything happens in the physical world, it happens inside your mind and it happens inside your, you know, your thoughts. Like you've already thought about it, or you're having this kind of impulsive reaction. So if you get your emotions and your mind under control, then you don't react. You learn how to respond to certain situations instead. And maybe you are being provoked, or you're in a living situation that's not, you know, beneficial to your health in many ways. I mean, people are living in all types of situations and we don't know why they're acting the way they're acting, but yoga could definitely help in getting a person to know that they have the tools with them.
Yes.
They have the tools with them. They have their body, they have their intention, their mind, and they have their breath. And once you get all those things aligned, that's what yoga means, union. Yoga, when you're doing a movement, you're breathing in, the body is, as you're inhaling, the hands are moving up, and the mind is focused on that movement. So everything is just that one point that you're doing, is those movements. And basically what yoga is, it's been proven scientifically too, is that when you're doing all these movements and these different postures, as we call them in yoga, you're rewiring your brain. Because when you learn an instrument, or when you learn a new song, or when you learn anything, you're telling the brain to make new connectors. Mm-hmm. So if you're telling the brain to make new connectors for you to be peaceful, and you just keep doing that over and over and over, you just become more and more peaceful, and more self-aware, and more, you become more of a person that's able to not react, because you're in control of how you respond. You understand that you're in control of your own mental and physical faculty, and that, okay, I can react this way, or I can take a breath if certain situations, you know, come up. And is that easy all the time? No, it's not. Easier said than done. But this program is completely open to anyone, any age range. In the classes that I had, we had people from, you know, 19 to a woman who was, I think, in her late 50s. Mm-hmm. So anyone can apply, and anyone can go. I mean, if you're interested in learning more about yoga, or learning more about the program, as I said, Michelle Williams at Om Shanti Belize, she is the contact that the Indian Embassy has here in Belize. So you can just go and talk to her, find out the information, get the application going. And it's, like I said, once you get accepted, it's completely, everything is sponsored. It's a complete sponsorship.
So let's just say I'm a parent, and I know that my 14-year-old is obese, and I know that he has no real control over his mind. He's just out there doing. How would I incorporate, or how would I introduce to him or her how would I introduce to him yoga? How would I bring it to him or how would you, as an instructor, make him understand that, okay, this is where you are now, and this is where your mind is, and this is where you need to be to get peace within yourself? How would you do that for a younger person?
Well, and with young people, always it's about leading by example, first and foremost. So you can't be eating a bag of Doritos and Cheetos, even though it tastes really good. Yes. Like, you need to get it together. You need to align your chakras, and you need to go to yoga while you're telling them that your mouth is full of Cheetos.
Okay.
So the first thing I would suggest is, to practice on oneself. Because the only thing that you can actually promote and say this actually works is if you experience it yourself.
Right.
And I'm not here to tell anybody that you have to do this and you have to do that. You practice it for yourself and see how and if it benefits you in any way. And if you feel that benefit, then you can move it forward and promote. That's anything. But for a young person, again, leading by example, but also in exposure is important too, because if someone doesn't know, then they won't understand how something can help them. So, leading by example, exposure, and then inviting them to something where they would be exposed to how this is positive and how that could be an event, or that could just be sitting with them, and not trying to be preachy or explain or something like that, but just you be that example of how yoga works.
Is there a conflict in, let's say, the religions and yoga?
Yes.
Because
maybe.
I've heard people say, I've heard people make comments like,
I know.
if you follow yoga, you're following a cult.
Yeah.
If you into yoga, you can't believe in Jesus, and you do.
Yeah.
See,
so
um,
I think that's a misconception because, you know, if you don't know about it, if you're not well informed about any particular subject, anything, and you're just kind of hearing bits and pieces and you don't understand, well, whoa, how does that relate to what I'm doing? Then you're not going to accept that. But again, like I said, there's these 4 different schools of yoga. So do you have to do devotional yoga and go sing mantras all day and do that? That's up to you. The mantra that I sang today was all about peace. You see it in the transliteration and you see it in English everywhere you go on campus. So you decide, do I want to keep saying these words over and over about peace today or not? That's up to that person. Is that religious? No. That's a conscious choice that I'm going to say this mantra. I'm going to hold this mantra in my mind today because I'm feeling unsettled in my own spirit and I'm trying to get back to my own peace. So let me just meditate on these words and keep singing this mantra and over. Okay, may I be prosperous. May we all be free. May we all be, not have animosity. What does that mean? So that's on an individual basis. Now, if you're a very religious person, you're very devout, and you feel threatened, then that's an issue because I don't feel like any yoga instructor or yogi, I hope not. I haven't seen that with any of my instructors, are going around and trying to make people yogis or convert anyone or impose upon anyone. For me and all the yogis and the yoga teachers that I know and instructors that I know, it's these are the tools that you can use, practice them, and see how it affects you. If you feel that you feel some positive difference, great. If you don't, then peace to you and thank you for being open enough to try. But I just don't. And initially, I didn't understand that kind of negative response because I don't think people who do yoga are trying to impose upon anyone. So, but I can understand where people are coming from when they have their beliefs, and they're wondering like, well, how does this affect my belief? Nothing's going to affect your belief
if that's what you believe.
Because that's what you believe. Hopefully, that's if you're strong in your belief, nothing can change that. So this isn't trying to change your belief. This is just yoga is giving you tools to help your mind and body get organized so that you can feel more peaceful and calm within yourself and more self-aware and more in control of your mental and physical faculties. And once you become organized within your mental and physical self, you become a more peaceful, positive person anyway. So why is that bad? You'll just be a greater influence in your specific religion or in your church. And so, yeah, at first I had an issue. I wasn't clear on why people were having a problem with yoga, but I understand that it can be a threat if someone's unclear on what yoga is or how they can use the techniques in their life. And so now I just let people know, I'm not trying to change you. I'm not trying to impose upon your religion. I respect your religion. I understand it. Usually different people come to me, I understand it. So these are just tools that I'm showing you that you can use mentally and physically to help you become the best you that you can be. That's it.
Yes.
So, you want to ask a question, Brandon?
Yeah, in a little shift, but if you want to stay in the same theme.
Well, no, I was thinking to ask next that Buddha. How does Buddha fit within yoga?
Yeah, great. No, that's a great question. So Buddha, Gautama Siddhartha, is from ancient India. A lot of people don't know that Buddha is from India. He was a prince, and he was protected. His father didn't want him to leave the kingdom, and he left one day, and it was like a rude awakening. Why are all these people suffering? Why don't they have clothes? Why don't they have food like me? Just his whole life, I think he was 35 or around 33, 35. He didn't know the real world.
Yes.
And so when he saw it, he was very taken aback. And so for him, the search, he just became the seeker. Like, why? Why do we suffer? I have to find out. So he made that decision to sit, and he wouldn't get up until he found out.
Oh, wow.
And that's where you have those pictures of Buddha just sitting, and he sat under the tree, and the legend and the story is that he sat for 6 years and he didn't move. I mean, but you have these stories of these yogis that sit for 8 months that you hear of, that sit, like the guru that I follow, he thought he sat down for 20 minutes and it was several hours, like, and then he thought he sat down for several hours and it was 13 days, and he woke up, and there were people around him, and he was like, what's going on? They're like, you've been sitting here for 2 weeks. What's going on with you? So he had reached a level within his own self where he completely was able to transcend his physical body. So with the Buddha and the way he fits in with yoga is that the Buddha basically was training people in a lot of mental yoga. The jnana yoga. Jnana yoga is the yoga of the intellect. And so once you get control of the mind, the body will follow. Other schools of yoga are saying, yeah, well, you could do that together. You know, once you get control, the body and the mind together, then you get full control of the self. So it's just a different school of thought. That's all it is. Meditation is a wide used term now, but it's very difficult to sit and meditate, as what people would say, you know, sit and have one pointedness on, carry one thought in the mind, or just keep your focus and your attention just on your breath. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. For some people, that's completely impossible. Like, there's just no way. Like, for 5 minutes, you're just like, inhale, exhale, ooh, I forget to put on the beans. Inhale, exhale, ooh, I never turn off the stove. Inhale, exhale, ooh, and then your mind's just like floating all over the place. And you're just like, how? And you have to train your mind. No, come back. So you have to sit there with your own self and train your mind and train yourself. That is very, very difficult, because then you're just like, I don't need to train my mind. I'd inhale and exhale for 2 minutes. I'm okay. I feel the yoga great.
Okay.
And then you know, so it's your own commitment to yourself to see how much you want to experiment and practice on yourself to change how you are experiencing the world. But you can only do that if you do it. I can do all the yoga in the world, but I can't do it for you. You have to train your own mind. So yeah, getting back to the Buddha, he was about training the mind. And that if you train the mind and you get one pointedness, that complete and total focus on a single thought, or a single focusing your entire attention and awareness on one thing, that can help you transcend any kind of issues that you have within yourself, mentally or physically, because you're able to control the mind to only pay attention to what you direct it to. You won't be distracted because you'll have full control over that mental faculty. So that's how he fits in. And then historically, his way of doing things had kind of fell off for a while, and then it kind of had a resurgence and it came back. And now there's Buddhists all over the world. But one thing I wanted to explain too is that Buddha isn't the only Buddha. Like, Buddha just means an enlightened person. So he's a Buddha, but he's known as the Buddha, in quote, in the world. But he's a Buddha. He's a person that was enlightened. There were many people before him. There were many saints and sages after him that became enlightened and was able to transcend their physical form and see things from a very spiritual point of view. So Buddha is an enlightened person. He was one enlightened person that everyone followed, that got a following. Just similar to like all the, you know, Jesus, Muhammad. These were people who reached a certain spiritual level and they gathered a following. Were they the only people to ever do that in the world? No, but they were the more popular ones.
Okay, so now let's talk about, you have any questions, Brandon?
Yeah, I want to talk about yoga and gender. Because like sometimes you see pictures.
That's
like,
a good question.
In the States,
Yes.
like, you know, a man and a woman,
Yeah.
you know, doing their, you know, yoga pose and stuff, but you don't see it much in Belize. Like, what is the ratio of like males doing yoga in Belize?
That's actually a really good question, and I don't know the answer to that, so my apologies. I have noticed, and myself and other yoga instructors have noticed, that women, we have a heavily female following in our classes instead of males.
Do you guys have males in the classes?
Sometimes we do. I know
Right.
personally I have some family members that will be involved, and they're male, that will be going to a yoga event, and they will be participating heavily. And it could just be from the exposure that they got through me.
Yes.
I mean, this is
Right,
over
right.
years and years of them seeing me do yoga and inviting them to things, and then now they're finally going on their own, like, oh, I'm going to this yoga thing. I was like, oh,
Because
really?
they're older.
Great. Yes.
And they
Yeah.
can they're understanding it more.
I guess so, but I just don't want anyone to, and I'm glad you brought up that question, Brandon. I just don't want any man to feel that it's a woman thing.
Yeah, I feel that a lot of men have that perception and belief.
No, it's not. It's not. And I feel that there are a lot of male yoga instructors that do come to Michelle's studio, Om Shanti,
Great,
and other
great.
studios around the city as well. That because the studios will invite different teachers from around the world will come and teach. And so when those announcements are made, usually via social media on Facebook, everyone's welcome. I mean, and these especially these male teachers, they're really good. Some of them are like, masters. They've been studying for like 20 years or most of their lives.
Wow.
So men are more than welcome to come to the events to understand, because not only women need to organize their minds and their bodies, men do too. So, but
Yes,
it is a
yes.
good point, Brandon, and one yogi suggested that, because this was a similar question that was asked to him, and he's got enlightened, and so everyone's like, why are women doing yoga more? What's going on? And he made a joke, like, oh, women are smarter, and everyone's laughing. But he said, for him, he feels like he looks at things of a balance, like, and in the past it was very male dominated.
Serious?
In the past, yoga was very male dominated. All the books, all the saints and sages, everything that I'm studying and I looked up in the past, it's all males.
Yes,
Never,
yes.
because the women were traditionally supposed to be at home, supposed to take care of the family, so they weren't encouraged to go and they would be encouraged to do bhakti yoga, to be devout and go and sing, and that was it. You weren't encouraged to go out in the woods and meditate. It wasn't safe anyway, so it's dangerous to go out by yourself as a woman. So she was traditionally, culturally, yoga's coming from India. Women were at home. So all of the books and everything that we're studying as far as who were the yogis of the past and who left a tradition, they're all male. So for him, he says he's looking at it as a balance. Now it's female dominated, and for him it makes sense because it was so male dominated. Now it's female dominated. He was like, and that's what yoga's about, balance. He was like, so we're all balancing out everything right now. That was his yogic philosophy explanation. But he also said that he felt women were more, in general, more open to different lifestyles or different ways of life. So that's why it's, women will come, they'll invite their friends, and it's a social thing. They'll go to yoga together and they'll enjoy the class together and stuff. Whereas maybe guys won't invite each other to a yoga class together. It's a show because maybe they're socially getting together. They'll invite each other to a game or to something else, or to play a sport.
Yeah.
They're being active. And there's also this little, like, people think, like, some males have told me to, like, maybe yoga isn't as challenging, or it's not physically challenging for them. They don't see it as something that could challenge them physically, which is completely not the case. If they were to take a program and to practice, because there's different forms of yoga, as I said. So within the physical practice of yoga, if you want to practice Raja Yoga and get really active, just within that, there are many schools. And like Ashtanga yogas, I used to do Ashtanga yoga, and basically Ashtanga yogis, they're like the athletes of yoga. It's like the way that they're able to control their body. I mean, they're like almost like very muscular gymnasts, like the way that they can control their body and do different things. So how do you get to that level of control of the body? You have to work the body out. You have to work out. And you have to do it in a very yogic way, but it's very vigorous. 4:30 in the morning, you're up doing yoga. You're just like thinking like, why am I here? What is going on? Like, why did I make this choice? But again, it's all preference, and it's all about exposure. So if someone's invited to an event and he's a male and he can understand and see, oh, this is how I can apply this to my life, this is how this could help me, then he would start practicing himself or maybe invite his friends. So to me, it's all about exposure. Yeah.
And like as far as when we come to the benefits, along with you're saying the peace of mind and the self-awareness, what are like more of the benefits for?
Well, there's so many
yoga?
benefits. Mental clarity, yeah, stress release, stress reduction. There's been, oh my gosh, there's so many studies of how people's anxiety and depression have completely reduced because
Wow.
they're practicing yoga, just
Makes
because
sense.
they're focusing on the breath or doing several postures. And there's, that's the physical benefits of maybe getting a nice body. Some people would say that's a byproduct of just doing the practice every day. So overall health, stress reduction, release, mental clarity, able to focus more. One of the issues now, especially because we're always on our phones, not everybody, but most people are always on their phones because that's just a part of life now. And so people's attention spans, because the phone is training your brain to say, look here, look there, because the ads are popping up, and the eyes are trained to look where there's movement. So if you're on your phone and something pops up, you can't just be like, don't look at that. You're automatically, you don't even think about it. Your eyes look at the pop-up, someone sends you a message. So your brain you're training your brain. You don't realize it, but basically when you're getting those distractions all the time, you're teaching your mind to jump all over the place, to look at your phone, to look over here, to look over there, look at my phone again. Even if the phone doesn't ping, you still pick it up.
Yes.
Because you're training your brain to have that impulse to do that. So there is yoga specifically to help train the mind to, and it's so hard to not just like pick up your phone, to help train you to have that awareness. Okay,
Yes.
I do this. That's the first step. You're aware that you do that. And then you, within that little grace period of 1 to 3 seconds of, okay, should I pick it up? Should I not? You have to make the decision. Am I going to keep sending this message to my brain to give into this impulse? Do I control my phone, or does my phone control me? And that's like a whole other conversation because I mean, the world, you have people who are addicted to their, like literally addicted to their phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how important is yoga, would you say, to a person's diet of healthy lifestyle practices?
Diet.
Yeah.
Very, very, very important. And what happens is, once you start to practice yoga, and when I say this word practice, what I mean is the physical part of it, and you start to apply that, what starts to happen is your food quota and your sleep quota changes.
Wow.
Because you're reorganizing your body to not use up so much energy from other places. So you may eat a lot of food. That's great. Eat food. Food is beautiful. It's amazing. But after you start to practice, the body will start to change where you won't necessarily need that amount of food. So yeah, it does relate to diet. And there is a yogic diet. There are different types of diets, and that starts to get into more of the yogic philosophy aspect, like if you want to get into that, which is about following the 3 different body types, which is Vata, Pitta, Kapha. Vata is a very, like you would say, like an airy person, very like creative and light. Pitta is a very focused person, very goal-oriented business people, that kind of, and that Kapha is very settled and calm, very maternal, very peaceful, just naturally. So they're saying like everyone has these 3 different ways of being within them, but one is leading, one is more leading. So you may be more Pitta, more goal-oriented, more focused, more fiery in nature, or you may be a little dreamy, a little creative, and this and that. So once you know what personality type you are, there's a specific diet for that personality type, to say, okay, you're a fiery person, so you shouldn't be eating pepper and drinking coffee all day because that's a stimulant to get you going. You need to cool down. You need to drink.
Slow down on the coffee.
You need to you need to drink more water, or you need to drink cooler drinks to help kind of balance that out. And so when we were at the university, we were being given a very sattvic diet, and a sattvic diet just means that It's not spicy. It's not a lot of fried foods. It's to help. It's basically to help create a diet, to cultivate within you this, again, very peaceful way of being. So very simple foods: white rice, split peas. They call it dal. Split pea soup, dal. The naan, the bread, and some very, very, very sattvic. Every now and again, they would treat us with some like fried potatoes or something. When you saw those fried potatoes, you were like, "Yay, fried potato!" That part of you that still wants that fried food is like happy to see it. Also, at this Vyasa Yoga University, no meat was served at all on campus. No eggs, no fish, no meat, none at all.
Wow.
Because that's a yogic, that's when you get into the philosophy, and that's if you want to go deeper into the yogic practice. But it's about, if you're in union with all the beings in the universe, then you don't want to hurt anything. So you don't want to kill an animal to eat it. So, and that's a personal choice. But again, within those different 3 personalities, you can decide, okay, there's a test that you can take and find out what your personality type is, and then it gives you like the type of foods that you should eat based on your personality. Yeah. And it does, you see the difference, how it affects your overall health too when you follow it. Because I've experimented on myself. Again, it's about, you get this information and you decide how you want to use it. So I was like, okay, let's see if this works. And it does, but I still like fried food though. Like, I still want my,
lychee.
My no, I don't eat fried. Like, I still want my fried fish or French fries every now and again. But it's about just creating awareness within yourself about the balance. Is it good? Everybody knows that. You ask that question to yourself. Is it good to eat fried food every day? No, but it tastes good. So you're just like, So these different yogic diets that were prescribed to you based on your personality would just help you to create self-awareness.
So when
about what you're eating.
Let's just say that I'm deciding or I'm considering doing yoga.
Yay.
Now, if that's so, then the first step would be for an instructor or someone to analyze me as a person, so you could find out if I'm a
Vata Pitta Kapha.
Pitta Kapha.
If you like. If you like, again, that's not what we would lead with. Like, when you come to a class, I wouldn't tell someone, oh, you need to take the test so we find out your personality or Vata Pitta Kapha. That's like later on, if you want to get into the yoga philosophy and get into more deeper aspect of yoga to see how it can change your life from all these different aspects. If you just want to come solely to do the mental techniques and tools and the physical techniques and tools to just kind of help your body get to a calmer state, that's completely fine too. That's the introduction to kind of get you going, but that's not necessarily what we would lead with.
I see.
However, if you do go to a studio and you say, hey, I know about Vata Pitta Kapha and I want to know which one I am so that I can apply this yogic diet to my daily life, and how I eat, because I want to eat healthier, then I'm sure any yoga instructor would be thrilled or surprised, actually, that someone would come and ask them that, because that's not a very prevalent question. Most people are asking about, I can't do that, and that nice stiff, or, they're just saying like what they can't do physically. So this question would be received well, I think. People will be glad that, yoga instructors, I think, would be glad that people know, oh, there's a different personality that I can, based on my personality, there's a way that I can eat and help myself get healthier. So in the yogic tradition, they would love the fact to know that, hey, people know about this. They would probably ask you, how did you know about this?
Okay.
Yeah.
I say, because I know Maryam.
They'll be like, oh, okay. Telling you all the secrets.
I have one other request. When the program started, you started off with
the peace mantra.
Yes.
The opening peace mantra.
Could you do it again, because I don't think the audience heard.
Oh, great. I would love to.
Because we were having a little glitch with the microphones at the time, and I don't think yours was on. So once you do that, once she does that, Brandon, then we'll go into the commercials and come back and we'll talk about health and how it relates, because we got diabetes, we got blood pressure, and there's a lot of things that I feel that the mind has a lot to do with your health problems. So.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do that, Maryam, and then we'll go into a break.
Okay, great. So this is the Shanti mantra. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Varitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we all be nourished. May we work together with great energy. May our intellect be sharpened. Let there be no animosity among us. Peace in me, peace in nature, peace in the divine forces. Peace to all.
Welcome
You are listening to Moments of Inspiration on Crim Radio, Belize City, Belize, Central America, and I am Virginia Echols. Get lost in the music. Get found in this message. Get up with God. You know, a lot of people want to know about the title of the program is Moments of Inspiration. And the reason for Moments of Inspiration is that it is my hope that you are inspired by not only the music that is played, but by the people that speak on the program, whether it's live or recorded. And yes, I am a Christian, and I have no problem saying that I am a Christian. But I respect all religions. I respect all people's beliefs. And so, and then I have found in my life that you don't have to be, you can be a Christian and not be religious. So listening to Maryam this morning, I hope you can get a broader perspective on spirituality and meditation and yoga. And today I am praying that you will have a life-changing experience. Thank you, Maryam, for being on and letting us know about yoga.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and talk about yoga, and I hope that the message is clear and that people are receptive, and that if they're not, that's fine too. That's great. And if they see me anywhere walking on the street, they can always ask me questions. I'd love to talk to anyone about it.
And you'll be here for another 2 weeks.
Yes, I'll be here for another 2 weeks.
Okay.
And also just wanted to go back to a point that Brandon had pointed out earlier about the gender bias in yoga. So I just wanted to say that there are male yogis, men practicing yoga that are Belizean men in Belize, from Belize, here, right here, live in the flesh. So those people are Mr. Orlando Pelayo. So if people know about the Pelayos, Mr. Pelayo, he does yoga. I'm sure he would be thrilled, and I'm sure he would be more than welcome to talk to any man or any young man that would be interested in yoga to want to talk to him about it, who is a male practicing yoga. And he's been doing yoga for many, many years in Belize. And then there's also two more people. There's another yogi who studied in India, Yogi Charu, who is an actual yogi, complete master, yoga master, Belizean man that traveled, went to India and studied in the Himalayas with yogis.
Wow.
So he is very well versed in yoga. You can find him on Facebook, Yogi Charu. He's currently not in Belize, but I believe he does come back for the yoga festival and the International Day of Yoga.
Yes.
So please, you can seek him out. Again, he'd be more than welcome to answer any questions to help any young man or any man in particular with any questions about yoga and how it helps men. And then also we have Mr. Jeremy Enriquez, who is very practiced in his meditation, and he goes out and teach meditation workshops to teachers and schools. So again, this is another person that you can contact, Jeremy Enriquez, who would be more than happy to come in and do a workshop or do a session with you about meditation. He's been a practitioner again for decades. So these are just a few of the men that I recall that I know personally that do yoga and meditation that would love to talk to any man or young man about it if they're interested. So thanks again, Brandon, for bringing that up. So we could lift up our male practitioners.
Yes. Make sure that people understand, you know, because if men in Belize feel that it's a woman thing, they're not going to get involved, even if they would want to.
Yes, exactly.
They wouldn't.
Yeah, and these are male instructors that you can go with, and you can do a private class with if you just want to go by yourself, an introductory class. Again, they will be more than happy to inform you and help you on that. So please reach out to them, Mr. Orlando Pelayo, Yogi Charu, and Mr. Jeremy Enriquez.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that information.
Yes.
We really
we have to
appreciate
repeat
it.
that.
Yes.
For all the men out there.
Yes.
And we have, everyone knows that I'm not really good with the technical part of but then we have Brandon here now, and he hasn't really done the telephone line, but we're going to open the line if in case someone wants to ask Maryam some questions.
Okay, great.
The number would be
Absolutely.
222-4299. 222-4299.
9.
Okay, so before we went on break, I had asked Maryam, but when we came back, could we talk about health-related issues that can be handled through yoga?
Yes.
Okay.
And there are many different types of yoga techniques. I was explaining to Brandon during the break that have been used and have had extremely amazing results for the patients. So, excuse me, I was explaining to Brandon that not only is Vyasa University a university, but it's a research university. So everything that they do yoga-wise, they're doing research and basically keeping track of how well patients are responding to the yoga that's being prescribed to them for different ailments or different things. There is a hospital on campus, and locals do attend, come to the hospital to seek help, and they get better within a matter of weeks or months, depending on the type of ailment that they have that's being treated. So specifically, I wanted to talk about diabetes, the Stop Diabetes movement that's going on in India, and the Indian government is focusing on, because I was trained in a specific yoga module, a specific class, type of class to teach to someone who has diabetes. So, you know, there's diabetes 1 and 2, so there's different types of modules for each one. But these specific techniques and practices were put together and packaged together for a person who has diabetes. And it works. The research is insane, like the results of how it works to help people live with diabetes, to help them. But it's also, again, encouraged with lifestyle changes, so you can do the yoga, that's great. And we have this particular class that we prescribe for them in specific postures just for them to do. However, there are still lifestyle changes that we encourage. I can't force anyone to do that, but I will make these suggestions about, you know, if you're going to have a meal, make sure that half of that meal is live foods, fresh. 50%, you need a salad, you need something. So there is a specific diet prescription as well that goes along with the class, because if I'm teaching you the postures and the breathing and it's helping you and you're getting healthy, but you're still having this kind of bad diet that's not helping you, then it's kind of counterintuitive for what we're trying to do with the yoga. I was also explaining to Brandon that there's whenever a patient comes to this research school with an ailment, they'll prescribe them different specific type of yoga techniques for that specific ailment to help relieve them. So there are books when we go into the campus bookstore, yoga for the common cold, yoga for depression, yoga for anxiety, yoga for diabetes, yoga for cancer. And these are specific modules that were put together by these yogi masters and these research PhDs and assistants that they put together and said, this is the science of it, and this is the yoga spirituality aspect of it, and this is how this can help this person heal from this ailment. And I was telling Brandon about 2 men in particular that came to give their testimony to our class. They both were diagnosed with cancer, like laid into it, like stage 4, stage 5 cancer, like it wasn't looking good for them. And someone told them about the university, Vyasa University. They went to the hospital there, and they started working on them, giving them a specific diet, a specific type of different yoga tools and techniques for their mental and physical body. And they're now living. They were supposed to be passed away, but they're alive and living well, and they were able to come and talk to us. And one of the men said that his doctor, when they called the phone, they said, well, who is this? Because we know that he passed away. And he's like, no, it's me. They didn't believe. He went into the doctor's office. They took tests again, and he said the doctor just sat there for about at least 15 minutes, just completely silent, because he couldn't understand how this man who was, according to him, going to die. I mean, cancer was running rampant all over his body. And then now he comes back, I think it was like 4 months, 6 months later, something about 4 to 6 months later, and completely healed from all that, based on just doing
cancer-free.
Completely cancer-free. And he's
beautiful.
living now. So he travels and he goes around and he talks to different people about how his testimony and his experience and how it helped him. and how he just encourages people to just please, if they, you know, for him, the situation was he didn't have any hope left, and he was just like, well, this is the only thing I can try that I haven't tried, because he tried everything. Very successful businessman in India. He was paying the doctors top notch around the world, flying around to see these different people, and no one could, he couldn't, they were just like, it's not, this is where you are, and unfortunately your time has come. And then someone made a suggestion, hey, why don't you go to Vyasa University? They have they do research there for yoga, and they treat people. So and he went, and he got completely healed. So his testimony is so powerful, an example of how yoga works and heals on a cellular level, not just from the external, but it's giving you tools and techniques to learn so that you can practice internal yoga to help cleanse and heal yourself from within.
Yes, yes, yes.
So yoga and health, it's definitely related.
Yeah.
Definitely you're going to be in good health practicing yoga. And you'll at least be aware of the techniques of what you can do. For example, can I use myself as an example?
Of course.
Miss Echols and Brandon are my witness. I came in today. The AC was cold. I was having a sensitive reaction. I'm very sensitive. So I was sneezing a lot, correct?
Yeah.
Right here, you guys were busy, and I started doing some yoga, alternate nostril breathing, and it went away.
Beautiful.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I should be still sneezing right now. The AC's on, all that. I know that my body I'm still not as clear in my voice, and I can feel the mucus. I can hear it, but I'm not sneezing anymore.
Beautiful.
Because I knew the technique to apply. It was just alternate nostril breathing.
Yes.
And knowing to unblock the different air pathways in my nose to know that, okay, if I do this now, it'll help me get through the show so I don't sneeze. I'm not sneezing through your show.
Right.
That was the goal. Don't sneeze through the show. What can I do? What yoga can I practice real quick? So I just did some alternate nostril breathing while I was sitting here, and it went away because I knew that could help with that, alleviate that.
You were one of the first persons that I had listened to meditation by Ruth King.
Oh, yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I remember that. Really nice meditation.
Yes. She, I play her occasionally because people ask me about it.
Yes.
And so I play it often because it's a spiritual, to me, it's a spiritual awakening. Listening to what she's saying and what she went through, how she came out of what she had gone through, because she went through a state of depression, I think, is what took her into meditation in the first place. So those are the types of things that I enjoy the listening audience to hear, so that they can understand you can still be who you are.
Yes.
And what you want to be, but you can, like, train your mind.
Yes.
And you can focus.
Yes.
And learning focus, and I'm sure being focused and meditation have to go hand in hand.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But, you know, like you say, you can start your breathing and do your breathing, and then next thing you know, your mind is here and there and everywhere, and you're not really focusing.
No, they call it the monkey mind.
The monkey mind.
In the meditation, like, yeah, those little monkeys jumping all over the place.
Okay, yeah. I have a monkey mind sometimes.
Yeah, we all do, and it's the nature of the mind, because the mind is a tool to help you process information. So your mind is like, okay, what are we doing now? Why are we doing this? What's meditation? I don't even know if I'm meditating. Like, it has its own, it just keeps going. But if what you learn with all these different yoga and meditative practices is if the breath and your emotions and your mental state are all connected. So when your mind's rushing, or you're having a situation, maybe you almost got hit by a car or something happens, and the way you breathe completely changes. And if you notice that when people are upset, they breathe differently.
Right.
So, and that anger or that rush of emotion only lasts 90 seconds in your body. If you're that aware to notice and be like, okay, after a minute, I'm going to be fine. Let me get myself together. But most of the times because we're humans, we're emotional creatures. So you're responding to your emotions. Like, what? I almost got hit. What? Oh my God, you're reactive. So the different yogic techniques that you learn are just about being aware of the breath. It doesn't even have to be about a yoga technique. It's just be aware of how you're breathing throughout the day.
Yes.
And if you tune into the way that you're breathing, naturally you'll become aware and you'll slow it down. You slow down the breath, you slow down your thoughts, you slow down your heart rate, you slow down your emotional response. You get yourself to a place of equilibrium within yourself, because any decisions that you have to go making moving forward, if you make it from that erratic state, maybe it won't be the best decision. Whereas if you're in a calmer state of mind, you can kind of help move yourself through. And I don't know anyone who doesn't want to be in a calmer state.
You fall asleep?
Do you fall asleep? Some people do when they get to a
Does that
meditative
mean that
state.
they've lost their focus?
No, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that the body got to a very relaxed state where it gave into the rest that it needed.
Oh.
So if you needed a little rest, sometimes you're not Sunday afternoon, you're just sitting on the couch. You didn't plan to fall asleep, but you just maybe watching TV, not really paying attention. You're on your phone or something. And then you just start to breathe slower, and maybe you did need a little rest. And so your body takes that rest, and then you wake up a couple minutes later and you feel refreshed.
Okay.
It's just your body needed that rest, and it's okay if you fall asleep in meditation. It just means that you got into a deep state of relaxation and you gave your body the rest that it needed. But there are yogic techniques, like, for example, we use the cyclic meditation, which is stimulating the body, getting the body stimulated. So like making a fist and then relaxing it, squinching the eyes real tight, relaxing the eyes. So like stimulating yourself and then relaxing the body. And it basically what the cyclic meditation does is it's training you to become aware to remain aware as you relax your body. Because what usually happens is you're relaxing and you're like, ooh, this feels good, I'm going to sleep. And then you fall asleep. And then that's it. You relax to a certain point, but you fell asleep. There are different types of yogic techniques, and cyclic meditation is one of them, where it's training you to remain aware as you're in deep relaxation, which helps you to relax even more.
Yes.
So cyclic meditation is equivalent to 30 minutes or 35 minutes of cyclic meditation, based on the research at Vyasa University, is equivalent to 6 hours of sleep.
Oh, okay.
So if you do the cyclic meditation recording, if you listen to it and just follow the voice, they will guide you through. It's a guided meditation. You follow the voice, and you just listen to what they say. Make a fist, relax. Squinch your face, relax. Tighten it in, relax. Stand up, stretch your arm to the right. Stand up, stretch your arm to the left. Lay down, breathe. So it's like stimulate you, relax you, stimulate you, relax you, stimulate you. The body starts to get into a deeper and deeper state of relaxation, but you're still awake and aware.
Okay.
And you feel like you slept for hours when you actually just did a relaxation technique for 30 minutes.
Does that help with high blood pressure too?
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that up with high blood pressure, because there are certain yoga postures or certain physical things that you shouldn't do if you have like vertigo or high blood pressure, hypertension, anything in particular like that. So any yoga instructor or yoga teacher should be aware and know of these things, so that no one gets hurt. The point is, for when people come to yoga, is for them to give them tools to help them continue to heal themselves and carry that out. So if someone has hypertension, there are certain things that they can't or they shouldn't do. Something that's going to get the heart rate going too much, they shouldn't do that, because they need to actually get to a calmer state. So cyclic meditation would be perfect for someone to do.
Because I hear people, and myself included, don't want to be on medication for your entire life.
No.
And and that's what happens with high blood pressure.
Yes.
You know, you take it, it regulates it, and then the next thing you know, you're eating everything, but you're taking your medication.
Yes.
So sometimes, you have to understand where you are as the person. And I'm thinking that yoga helps you understand where you are.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And it helps you become very self-aware
Okay.
of how you're contributing to your own health or sickness.
Okay.
And not only become aware, but you make the decision, am I going to continue to participate in my own this kind of self-destructive behavior where I'm hurting myself because this food tastes good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's about self-control. Maybe you don't have to stop eating that particular food completely, entirely. Some people do. They just make the cut. They stop eating maybe fried foods or meats, and they just go strictly vegan or vegetarian. For some people, that diet doesn't work. That actually hurts them. So you have to find out, you have to be self-aware to know your own balance, what works for you. And it's all about a balance, because your body needs these different vitamins and nutrients. And so maybe cutting something completely out isn't healthy for you, but it's about knowing, okay, this is what's working for me and it's healthy for me. But if you're unbalanced, you know, even too much water can hurt you. You know what I mean? Like, too much water can actually hurt the system. If you put too much water in your system, it'll start to, the urinary system will get confused, and then you'll just have to use the restroom all the time, because it won't be able to decipher whether you have to go or you don't have to go, because you always have water in your system. So it'll just be letting it go. So, that's water that we need. Water's a vital part of life. Like, it's important, but if you have too much of it. So it's about balance and becoming aware of what am I consuming affecting me mentally and physically. And if it's not affecting me in a positive way, okay, how can I reduce the amount? Because, you know, sometimes it's hard to just completely stop. That's fine. But how can I reduce the amount, and what can I do to replace with healthier options and nutrients that will help the body become healthier instead of bringing the body down? But it's hard.
So,
It's a
Shanti.
challenge. Om Shanti, yes.
Om
Om
Shanti.
Shanti Belize.
Okay, that now is down on the
Yes, it's at 10 Fort Street,
Fort
Belize
Street.
City, by the lighthouse. Yes, and the Belize sign.
Oh yes, in the Belize sign.
Yes.
Okay, and it's in the restaurant area, or it's across the street?
So actually, Om Shanti Belize Yoga and Wellness Center is a part of an entire area that
Community looks
community.
like.
Yes,
'cause
beautiful.
she has-
I call it the oasis in Belize City. Michelle's oasis in Belize City.
Uh-huh.
So there's Martha's Cafe upstairs, which serves strictly vegan, vegetarian food. Amazing food. I had the veggie lasagna. It was amazing.
The carrot soup is
It was beautiful.
awesome. Yeah.
And then downstairs is the yoga studio.
Okay.
So there's a room for group yoga classes, and then there's a room for private yoga classes. So if you wanted to go on your own and just talk to someone one-on-one as an introduction, basis, you can use the private yoga studio. And then across the street is where the cottages are for the
Cabanas, like?
the cabanas for the Harbor View cottages. So it's all one.
For the
business.
Harbor View
cottages.
Cottages, okay.
Yes, cottages. So
Uh-huh.
it's a beautiful place. Like I said, an oasis in the city. There's a spa. You can get it's just amazing. When people come there, I see they just come and they just sit and relax, and you can see the stress relief from their shoulders. Their shoulders relax down, and they just kind of relax and calm.
So is mostly local people that use
both
it? Or
local and international,
people that come
because
in.
of I think where it's located on
Yeah.
Fort Street,
Right.
there. People, we get
The
different types of
tourists.
people,
Yeah.
but we do. Om Shanti does have our regular yoga practitioners that come for classes,
Okay.
and that come to Martha's Cafe for their vegan and vegetarian food. That is very tasty, I might add. That's another misconception, that vegetarian food tastes bad.
Yeah.
And, tastes good.
I
Not
can't
this
eat
food.
that. Ooh, look at that.
No, no,
Uh-huh.
it's healthy and it tastes real good. So
Great,
yeah,
great.
you'll want to eat it. But that's where it's located. Number 10 Fort Street, Shanti Yoga and Wellness Center. Complete
Okay.
yoga and wellness center, full
Okay.
wellness center.
All right. I'm going to have to look into it more.
Yes.
And the older you get, the more you think about your health. And you don't want to be running back and forth to the doctor, and being pumped with pills and, things like that. Then this is something I think would be inviting for people to start doing. As you get older and you start feeling different things with your body, you can look one way on the outside, but your body may not be functioning properly on the inside. And so sometimes,
That's true.
what you eat, well, most times what you eat is who you are. So You know, that happens.
That's very true.
Yeah.
And during my yoga studies at Sviasa University, what I found out is that, you know, in the West, I would say in the West, this part of the world too, what we know about yoga is just the physical aspect of it. What you see people doing those yoga postures, tree pose, downward dog, you know, you see people on Instagram, they're doing it. And that's just one aspect of yoga. One complete aspect.
That's
There's
the part
many
we always
different,
see.
that's what you see, but there are many different types of
what I'm realizing
yoga.
Today.
Yeah. So, but the postures themselves that you see people doing, they are there to help you, and they are there to help the body. And they are basically constructed to help mobilize the trunk. In yoga, we call it the trunk of the body, which is from the neck down all the way to the pelvic area, because that's where your vital organs are. Like, everything's there. So it's about your arms follow after, your legs follow after. It's all about the trunk. How are we, what way are you placing the stomach? What way are you placing the back, the spine? How are you twisting? How are you moving to kind of help keep those organs healthy? Because if they're not, then that's when you start having issues. So when you go to the Sviasa program and you study, like I did the 1 month program, again, I said if people are interested, they can do a bachelor's, they can do a master's, they can do a PhD. You learn that you basically, it's almost like taking like a mini, I'm not going to say med school level, because that's an exaggeration, but you still have to learn about anatomy and physiology, and you have to learn about all the different systems in the body. So you still have to learn about the respiratory system, the nervous system, the circulatory system, the digestive system, the excretory system, the endocrine system. You have to learn about basically all the different organs in the body and how they work, and how if there's a little problem, this is how it will show up in that person's body. And this is the type of yoga that you can give them to get them back on track.
Okay.
So that's why it's important for us to learn anatomy and physiology as a yoga teacher, because then we can help you better. If someone comes to the class and they have scoliosis, or they have, we have a lot of people with hypertension or vertigo or some problem, then you know that if someone has vertigo, I'm not going to tell them to bend forward and have their head hanging. They're going to be completely dizzy, and,
Yes,
so I have to find an alternative for that person. So it's very important as an instructor, and most instructors do this, and I would encourage them to continue. At the beginning of a class, you ask, does anyone have any injuries or health issues that I need to know of? That's the first thing. I ask, does anyone have any injuries or health issues? And then I see the people, and I see them not wanting to tell me. So my second point is always, you don't have to tell me now, but while I'm walking around during the class and we're doing our warm-up, please let me know. Because some people, it's private and they don't want to announce it in front of anyone.
Yes,
That's
yes,
fine. I
yes.
completely understand. But please let me know, because if you don't tell me, and then you tell me at the end of the class, oh, did you know that this back problem is up? Then I could have gave you a specific type of posture or yoga technique that would have helped you but you didn't tell me, so we're just going along with the class. So it's important for you to communicate with your yoga instructor. If you're going to let them know completely, like, this is what's going on, this is how long this has been happening, I have this injury, and so that they can help you to heal it. Because the last thing we want you to do is leave class worse off than when you got there. Want you to leave healed. Healed and happy. Maybe not healed like that, like, with beams of light coming out of you, but still feeling better than when you came in.
So, what keeps you inspired and going? And at the same time, where do you see yourself in like 5 years' time?
What keeps me inspired and going? Where do I see myself in 5 years' time? In the universe. No, I'm just kidding. We'll all be in the universe floating on this planet, but in 5 years' time. But what keeps me inspired and motivated is really honestly my passion for helping others. When I first took yoga, I took a yoga class, official yoga class, because I was doing yoga before I knew what it was. I took a class, I think, in 2007, in college, in my college years, when I was, seems like a long time ago.
Hiram, how you went to?
I went to Hiram College, an undergraduate degree, and I took in some yoga classes, and then in graduate school, I had to finish my book to graduate, and I was I was doing a double major in screenwriting and creative nonfiction, so I had to write a full film and I had to write a full book before I could graduate. And I was just like really stressed out because on top of that, I'm still working and there's life. And I came in and I saw my director and she saw like how stressed out I was. And she's like, I think you should go to yoga and, you know, it will help you through this time. And I was like, okay, I'll go. I'm glad I listened. So I went and I met this great yogi, Linda. She's another yoga teacher that I have trained with, and she taught me these different techniques to calm myself down, because I would get this one thought, oh no, what if I don't finish my book? What if I don't do this in time? I'm not going to graduate, and then what was this point? And then I would spiral. And she would teach me to just breathe and calm down. So taking her class, and then I would start to take her class regularly, and she would do donation yoga or yoga in the park. And then anybody could come. And she would just be like, okay, give what you can. Today we're giving to this organization, this nonprofit organization. So whatever you can give, $1, $5, we're going to donate. So that was her way of doing the karma yoga, the action to give back.
Yes.
Or her devotion, her way of giving back. So after taking all these classes with Linda and getting very active, I felt how it completely helped me manage my anxiety and stress. I was still very anxious and stressed out, but I was managing it like I couldn't believe it. Like I was like, I would become aware. I'd be like, okay, I'm breathing differently. It's going to pass in 90 seconds and then I'll calm down, and then I need to breathe to help myself feel better and to kind of support myself through it. So after and that was in 2009, I would say 2010, I decided that I wanted to be a teacher. It was like in a class, and I just completely felt the overall change in my mental and physical body. And I was like, this needs to be given to everyone. Like, why doesn't everyone do this so that they can feel relaxed in their body? Because you get so stressed out with work or school. And then you can develop different disorders based on your stress. Like you can develop your OCD, or like some people have chronic stress. And then that leads to like different diseases. And then, or that leads to different health problems because you're stressed out chronically, you know?
Okay, that's good.
So to answer his question, that's how I was inspired to help with yoga, because of my own personal transformation and experience with it. And I wanted people to know that you can get help. You can help yourself. These are basic tools that you can use. Anyone can do. Anyone can sit and breathe. Anyone can sit and focus on the breath, and help change how your body is, and be more in control of your emotional and mental responses to your situation, so you're not as stressed out. Because when you're in a stress situation, you don't feel good. So I wanted people to know that they can change that for themselves in a positive way.
Okay.
Okay, sure, great.
Yes, hello. Hello, caller. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Hello?
Yes, caller.
Yes,
you're
interesting
here.
conversation.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to know, if you stop eating meat,
If you stop eating meat,
what can you
We're
eat
not
to
hearing
replace the nutrients that you're missing? And what kind of nutrients are you missing? Or is fish a replacement?
okay.
Is it meat or it's not meat?
Okay, the question he's asking is, if you stop eating meat, what kind of nutrients are you missing, and what can you do to replace that?
Okay, that's a great question. Thank you, caller, and thank you for your question. So if you decide to stop eating meat, again, that's a personal decision. Yoga is definitely not forcing anyone to do that, or I'm not saying that. But again, if you do decide to do that, there are many different other alternatives. You can decide to, you still need your protein, so you'll have to have a heavily protein diet as far as with lentils, beans, soy, tofu. There are other types of alternatives, different types of veggie burgers that you can buy or that you can make for yourself. Actually, you can do that with black eyed peas. You soak them overnight, and then you blend it up in a blender, put your onion, your garlic, and flour, and make some little veggie patties and fry those up in some coconut oil. And that's a great source of protein that I can like give you right now off the top of my head, that you can still use. So what I guess I'm curious as to why the caller wanted to cut out meat, or what was the...
Why would you like to cut out meat?
Because
Or
hello?
what was the... Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Why would you like to cut out meat, sir?
Because I have a belief that meat wasn't designed for the body. I have my belief that.
Okay, great. Okay.
What
Okay.
was it? What was it?
Hello?
Yes.
So meat wasn't designed for the body.
Okay.
So if I could answer from a yogic philosophy perspective, there are many of yogis that do not eat meat, again, because of the coming from the perspective that we're all in unison and we're all one, and we don't want to hurt another being or another animal. But also, there are yogis that believe that the body was not made to decompose meat, so they do not put it inside their body. Also, the other point that I want to say is that when it's believed that when a person's consuming meat, animal products, it takes a lot of energy for the body to process that food and to digest that food. So it takes your spiritual energies down, because your body needs to get more grounded to a state where it can decompose this food. So you're not as light, you're heavy. You feel heavy after you eat heavy foods. So because the body is, all the energy is going to process this food, and it takes a longer time for the meat to leave the body. I believe it's depending on if it's a steak, and I could be wrong. I'm not saying I know this off, but I know it's like 48 to 72 hours sometimes. So that's just in your body. And then depending on your body type, that could just be sitting in your body and rotting in your body. So when people find out like how meat is being processed inside their body, and it's not being digested as quickly as fruits or vegetables or grain, or they just, for themselves, they make their own personal decisions to not consume something that's going to be sitting in their body for. But that happens with processed foods, with all these like fake foods and fast foods that people are eating. So again, that's a great another way to be self-aware and just decide that I'm not going to take this inside my body because I feel like it's hurting me. But again, to answer his question, there are a lot of meat alternatives, and the main one that a lot of people do is the soy meat, and tofu, which is completely available at every grocery store, I believe, here in Belize City. So, and there are a lot of vegetarian and vegan options and places that you can go to. Martha's Cafe, for example, Vegan Bites.
At BTL Park.
At BTL Park, Ruben has Vegan Bites. There are all these other restaurants. Sorry, I don't remember all your names. But there are a lot of people, Chef India, people who are pioneers of being vegan and vegetarian, who are making foods that are healthy for the body. Great. And still has a high content of protein that doesn't include any animal products or meat at all. So I hope that answers his question, that you can still not eat meat and have a healthy body.
One more question.
Okay, no problem, sir.
How about fish?
He has another question.
Oh, he has another question.
Yeah.
How about fish? Okay.
Is that an alternative for
If
me?
it's
Or you are still
Alternative?
eating meat if you eat fish?
Is it an alternative, or will it still be meat if you eat fish?
If he still eats fish. That's actually a very good question. And someone asked that question to my yoga teacher, who's enlightened and all that. And I was so surprised and happy about his response because I love fish. He was saying that if you do have to eat meat, he would always suggest fish because he felt like it was a healthier option for the person, and it wasn't as heavy as beef or goat or chicken. So that fish is is one of the healthier options for a person to eat. But some people completely cut out fish as well. But if he wanted to use that alternative, that's completely fine, at least from what I've been told.
Okay, then.
And in my experience, because I still eat fish.
I
I
do
love
too.
fish.
Yeah.
I love,
love
fish,
fish.
as well.
But
Thank
they call it a pescatarian when you.
Yes, a pescatarian when someone's only eating fish.
Thanks a lot, Carter, for joining us this morning.
Yes, thank you.
very
Thank you.
much for your
I have
information.
one more question. I'm looking at the clock on the wall. We have 4 more minutes. Can you imagine that?
Oh, it went so fast. And I want to do the closing mantra that we did
Okay,
too.
we're going to have you do that, but just very quickly.
Yes.
What about Alzheimer's? Alzheimer's and
Yoga and Alzheimer's, that's a very good question. I honestly have not heard of any cases, and I will have to go do my own research and ask and get back to you
because when
about
you're
that.
going into it, when you
Yes.
really haven't actually been diagnosed with Alzheimer's, there's different little things that lead up to it that I'm
Yes.
understanding that if you do certain type
things.
of exercises,
Yes.
you would be able
Yeah.
to remember.
So yes. So I will say this is what I know. I don't know any particular cases that were solved with yoga. Personally, I don't. There may have been, but what I do know is there are practices that you can, practices and tools and techniques that you can do to help with memory. So there are specific practices that are called yoga for memory. And they can come in the form of games. They can come in the form of any particular thing in the devotion yoga, remembering the mantras, singing the mantras, doing specific things, having specific mind-body coordination tools and techniques to help you remember. So there is yoga for memory. There is a module for that. There are specific tools and techniques and a class that could be that has been packaged and put together for that to help someone maybe that has that in their family or they're starting to worry about that and they want to focus on their memory. There are definitely tools and techniques for that person so that they can help nip it in the bud before
Yes.
it gets to a state where it's too late.
We're going to close. We got 2 more minutes, and we're going to put the music on to "He's God" by Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir, and that's going to be our closing theme. And then we're going to make it low so that we can hear her do the
Closing mantra, the peace mantra. Great.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
When I come into His presence, I humble myself. I lift up both of my hands and I begin to worship Him. I worship Him. When I come into His presence, I humble myself. I lift up.
All right, I'd like to thank you, Ms. Echols and Brandon, for having me today on Moments of Inspiration. I'd like to end with the peace mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. May all be prosperous and happy. May all be free from illness. May all see what is spirituality and upliftment. May no one suffer. Om, peace, peace, peace.
When I come into His presence, I humble myself. I lift up both of my hands and I begin to worship Him. Oh, yes, I do. I begin
Father, forgive us for all that is past, and grant that we may ever hereafter serve and please Thee in the newness of life to the honor and glory of Your name. Amen. And now to you, my listeners, I hope you have been so inspired. And if you have, continue to listen to Moments of Inspiration on Sunday mornings, 6 to 8 o'clock a.m. And also join our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Moments of Inspirations by Virginia Echols. You can go to the Facebook page. You can give us comments. You can ask criticisms and anything that you would want to ask us on Facebook. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May the Lord lift His countenance upon you and give you peace. Let the people of Belize, the people of the world, and the people of God say amen and amen.